people on the planet. There are 21 million of these coins. It's a very sound form of money. As more and more people come to see, I should save in this money, the price is going to go, in my opinion, much higher. I mean, I think we'll hit 100,000, then I think we'll hit 1 million, then I think we'll ultimately hit $10 million a coin. I mean, I'm sure my grandkids will be shocked at people who own one whole coin. I mean, being a whole coiner will be a big deal.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Larry Lepard giving his Bitcoin price prediction as the US dollar comes to an end. Lepard mentions that as people become more aware of the dollar's depreciation, they'll gravitate toward assets like Bitcoin, gold, and property. He points out a key advantage Bitcoin has over all other assets: its limited supply of 21 million coins, which, according to Lepard, this scarcity will be central to Bitcoin's long-term price increase. While he acknowledges that Bitcoin's journey will be volatile, Lepard says the success of Bitcoin is a certainty. However, he identifies governments as potential roadblocks and says they may slow down Bitcoin's progress by making it more challenging to enter and exit crypto markets. Despite these challenges, Lepard believes such actions would demonstrate Bitcoin's lasting presence and solidify its position as the currency of the future. Let's get right into the interview with Larry Lepard. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel.
It's impossible to know exactly where it's going to go. I mean, we hit 67 in the last peak, 67, 68, so we didn't make it to 100. And we hit 16 on this bottom. But if you kind of look at the pattern, you look at how far it tends to go off the bottom of the pattern, it would strike me that the next run ought to take us to about 100. And that would probably be sometime within the next 2 years. And then that 100 would probably correct down to 40, we're higher than it is today. And then the 40, wave up from there might take us to, 200, 250, something like that. I mean, it tends to go in waves. I mean, we've seen these cycles since it was formed. I mean, these were at much smaller degrees, but I mean, it went to 1,000, then it went back down to 200 or 300. I mean, I bought it at 17,000 in Thanksgiving of 2017 and went down to 10, then it went down to 3,500, and I bought more. But, so it's quite volatile as we've seen, but you've got two things going on here that support it. One, you've got an adoption curve. I mean, I was involved in investing in the internet. Reminds me a lot of the internet. More and more people are becoming aware of it. More and more people are using it. The second thing you've got going on is you've got this underlying thing that's driving gold as well, which is the monetary debasement. So you've kind of got two trends that push it. One, just more and more people use it. And you really need to read a little bit about that. I highly recommend a book by Alex Gladstein called Check Your Financial Privilege, which tells you the story of how people are using it around the world, how the unbanked are using it. All you need is a smartphone, and you can make lightning transactions. And there are poor women in Afghanistan doing technology work that couldn't figure out how to get paid. They're getting paid Bitcoin on their smartphone through the Lightning Network. And there are thousands of stories like that. Domestics working overseas, sending their money back in the form of Bitcoin so they don't have to pay the usurious fees to Western Union. So these kinds of applications, or we call them use cases, are going to spread the development of this thing as time goes by. And, the fixed supply and the fact that, savings in this asset have tended to grow over time. If you take a 5-year perspective, there's never been a 5-year period where even if you bought at the peak, you weren't ahead. In fact, something on the web recently I saw that was very interesting. If you started buying Bitcoin at the peak at $68,000 a year and change ago, and you bought an equal amount between then and today, every week, you just turned positive on your investments because it was 68, it went down to 16, and it's called dollar cost averaging.
Dollar cost averaging, yeah.
Right, and now it's at 30, and you're positive. You're net ahead, even though you started buying at 68. So and that's how I recommend people to do it. Actually, is to dollar cost average into it because it is volatile. There's no doubt. I think is it 2023? I think by the end of 2024, we'll definitely be at 100,000. I'll write that in stone, probably higher. By the way, at the end of 2024, I think gold will be well over 3,000, maybe 3,500 or higher. And
do you have an end of 2023 Bitcoin price
End of 2023 for Bitcoin, what's it, 30 now? I guess at the end of the year, we'd be bumping up against the old high. We'd be kind of right at it, 67-ish, 68, something like that.
But you're
And
not putting that in stone for me. You're putting
no,
2024, 100,000 in stone?
yeah, 2024, 100,000. I'll put that in stone.
Wow.
I think there's a high probability we're at 60 by the end of the year in Bitcoin. We're at 30 now. That's not that far out there. And I think there's a high probability we're at 3,000 in gold by the end of the year. And the reason I say this is I see the cracks in the financial system. I mean, I think if anything, both of those projections are probably too low. I mean, in other words, it's probably going to be higher than that. But I don't want to say a higher number and then I come up a little short and you say, oh, you missed it. Money is a lot of things, right? I mean, it's something you use to buy coffee with, but it's also, let's break it into two big buckets. There's the exchange bucket, and then there's the kind of savings and asset bucket, okay? We all need money for exchange. You need to pay for your gas, pay for your food, pay for your coffee, whatever. You got to pay your bills. That's the exchange function of money. And you earn money and you turn around and you spend money. And so if its value fluctuates a little bit in that time frame, big deal. It doesn't really matter. But then ultimately you've got your savings and your assets. And so you got to decide, where are you going to put those? And so, I mean, if the government, if they say you got to pay your taxes in CBDCs, well, then I'm going to have to briefly own some CBDC to pay my taxes. Okay, fair enough. But I'm not going to save in CBDCs because it's something they can print to excess. And so the point I guess I'm trying to make is I think the intelligent people in the world, and ultimately most people get the joke and realize that, that fiat currency is losing value consistently. And as that trend grows, people will go to Bitcoin. They'll go to Bitcoin, they'll go to gold, they'll go to property. Nobody's going to be stupid enough to buy bonds from a set of governments that have proven that they can't manage the currency correctly. So I think CBDCs could very easily be a parallel system to gold and Bitcoin as savings technology in a way. If I were paid in CBDCs, if they forced the whole world into CBDCs, I would immediately exchange. There'd be a CBDC gold exchange rate or a CBDC Bitcoin exchange rate. I'd immediately change it and I'd save in the hard currency. That's just Gresham's law. And I think, again, unless they outlaw or massively tax the alternatives, the system they've got, and this is why they're trying to block the exits. This is why they don't want, the choke point came around as a result of the fact that they don't want people exiting their system, right? They don't want you to go to the safe haven of Bitcoin. They don't want you to go to the safe haven of gold. They shit on them every chance they get. And yet, we all know that we can't trust their currency to hold value because of the way they behave. And we know that for a fact, and that's only going to get worse. And really the only thing, Michelle, that standing between us and hyperinflation is everybody coming to the conclusion that I've come to, which is that these currencies are doomed. And so as a result of that, yeah, do I hold dollars? Of course I hold dollars. I need to pay my bills. Every asset, I get paid a certain amount of money. I pay my bills. I have something left over. The leftover goes into gold or Bitcoin.
Larry Lepard may have a bold price prediction of $100,000 and then on to $1 million, but he's not the only one that shares this sentiment. Michael Saylor, Max Kaiser, and Cathie Wood all predict Bitcoin's price going from 6 figures next year and then going on to hit 7 figures within the next 5 years. The halving is a key milestone for Bitcoin as its price has historically multiplied times 10 every 4 years. We'll be keeping an eye on Bitcoin's price in the coming months as the second half of 2023 is right around the corner. What do you think about Larry Lepard's price prediction for Bitcoin and where crypto is headed in the last half of the year? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.